Thank you, Dr. Stam. All right, on behalf of the Board of Trustees at Thiel College, it is my privilege to bring greetings and congratulations to our esteemed Professor David Miller as we gather in honor to formally announce the establishment of a new $1 million endowed chair in your name. The naming of an endowed chair has a long-term impact on Thiel College, and the naming of a chair for an individual is one of the highest honors that a college can bestow, as Dr. Stam just said. So, the board just approved this recently, David, and having been a student of yours, and the board chair, endowed means we have to pay for it, right? So it can exist into perpetuity. So as we were approving it today, I was thinking, how in the world are we going to pay for this? What would David Miller do in this situation? So luckily, I was looking at the menu, and I thought, wow, buttered lettuce wedge with shaved drunken goat cheese. Now, just thinking through this, I thought, now, what if we made this a $10,000 a plate luncheon? There's 100 people in the room. We'd hit the goal, right? All right, well, Dr. Stam, our advancement chair, and Teresa Law, where are you, Teresa? Is she at the door yet? Okay, all right, okay. They'll be at the door on your way out, so if you'd like to donate, they'll happily accept that money. So, David, your 50 years of extraordinary service, leadership, and dedication to Thiel College has been unparalleled. That said, I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge the 50 years of extraordinary service, leadership, and dedication that has been rendered to by your lovely wife, Ruth. Ruth, would you please stand up and be recognized? Thank you, Ruth, for being there for him and for us. That was a joke. Okay, laughter. Professor Miller, your contributions have been widely recognized at Thiel College and elsewhere by your peers, alumni, the community, administrators, and thousands of students alike. You have brought great honor to Thiel College, and words are difficult to come by as we endeavor to express our deep and abiding appreciation for your contributions. Now, I don't need to review with this audience that which we already know about you. However, sharing just a bit will help me tee up a very important part of my presentation. So thank you in advance for your patience here. Professor Miller is a graduate of the Thiel College class of 1961 and joined the faculty in 1963. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Professor Miller. Thank you. He is married to Ruth. Is that correct, David? Thank you, Professor Miller. Professor Miller has two children who are also Thiel graduates, Mike, who is with us today, the class of 92, and Joy, the class of 1990. Is that correct, David? All right, okay. He has held the Norman P. Mortensen Chair of Economics since the inception of the chair and is the chair of the largest department on campus. Is that accurate, Professor Miller?
Yes, it is.
Okay, great. And if that's not enough, that particular department is actually two departments, business and accounting. Is that correct,
Yes,
Professor Miller? And you have never once in 50 years been on a sabbatical. Is that accurate?
Yes,
Professor?
it is.
Okay, great. Professor Miller has had the largest faculty-student advising load for the past 20 years, representing more than 10% of enrolled students at Thiel College. Amazing, and I was one of the lucky recipients of that mentorship. He has taught more classes, advised more students, and served more years than any professor in Thiel's history. Is that accurate? Professor Miller.
As far as I know, and Bob Olson confirmed it once.
Okay. Then if Bob Olson confirmed it, it is true. You have been a constant at Thiel College for 88% of all living alumni. Does that seem right, Professor Miller?
I haven't given that a lot of thought.
Okay. And you are the director of the Haller Entrepreneurial Institute. Is that correct, Linda and David?
This lady will confirm that.
All right. And he and our president, Troy Van Aken, share a deep commitment to student success. No question on that. Professor Miller is a frequent and faithful attendee at academic, cultural, sporting, and student-centered events. And he is visible, present, and has become a fixture in the life of Thiel College for 1/3 of its 150-year existence. So thank you for that. Now, by a show of hands, how many in this room has ever taken a course offered by Professor Miller? All right. So for those of you who haven't experienced this pleasure, Professor Miller, when he called students to the front of the class, would always provide some interesting commentary about the student as they were walking to the board. Is that correct for those of you who have been in there? So after 34 years, I finally have the privilege of doing the same. So Professor Miller, resident of Mercer, PA, county seat of Mercer County. How am I doing with it? Is that good? Owner of Miller's Furniture Store, funeral director at Miller's Funeral Home, and co-founder of Mercer Hydroponics. Would you please come to the podium?